you're talking a lot at the moment on retention of clients, isn't it? How you can ensure that in this day and age you have so much competition, you have so much things happening around you, you can get those clients to return. And retention is a KPI that's so important for the salon owner. But it's really difficult to understand why is it the client is not coming back. And I think that's where the analyze of the business has got to be on, the new clients that haven't rebooked. Why haven't they rebooked? The existing client that are not coming back, why they're not coming back. So one of the easy way to do it, which is what I used to do with my reception, was to call every new client that haven't rebooked every single Monday. Hey Amy, how are you? Hope you enjoyed last week, blah blah blah. Notice you haven't rebooked. Do you want us to look for an appointment? But it seems quite difficult sometimes to get the reception team to do it.
I know, because they feel like it's a salesy call, or they're nervous about making those calls. But I think if you make it more of a care call as such, probably not the way to put it, but it's customer care, so you're just checking in with them. Did they enjoy their first visit? Was everything okay for them? Was there anything else they would have liked us to do? And did they want to get booked back in? Because we're getting busy, or we know you only like Fridays at a certain time, so we're conscious that we get you booked back in. But it's also the things that you may not notice that aren't so obvious that put people off coming back.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can think of some really key ones that I used to really dislike, but whether it's, and I used to always get my team not to do it, was to come and stand behind reception chatting, so that when the client walks in, you feel very intimidated as the client. And I felt like that going into other places before in the past. Or you're just overhearing the chat of someone's personal life, or that. And actually, don't get me started. There's so many.
Let's get you started.
So there's that in a group environment, but also it's an overshare from the therapist as well. For me, as a client, you're quite nosy in the nicest possible way. You can be quite nosy as a client. You ask where someone lives. Do they have a husband? Do they? You're asking the therapist this, and I always used to kind of I used to train my staff in terms of how to answer, so you give enough but not too much.
Yes, yeah.
Because you don't want to go into, I did have a boyfriend, but then he split up with me and he cheated on me. And so
a political debate that I had with a hairdresser once, which was like, I'm not too sure where to stop. Talking about Brexit was just not really the conversation I was looking for while having my hair done. To the extent that he was going on and on about it. And I think it's a subtle, the subtle little details, isn't it, that makes a difference. When you're talking about the reception, I remember going into a mystery shop one day, and it took 5 minutes for the reception to actually acknowledge me, because they were so busy typing away. There was 2 hairdressers, his team, talking behind them about something, didn't acknowledge me, and there was a person who looked like she was from the restaurant, because they had a little coffee restaurant bar next to it, who was really avoiding eye contact. Perhaps she didn't speak English, or she didn't really want to deal with me. So I was just standing there thinking, and that already puts a terrible connotation to what we go on and on and on about the customer journeys.
I mean, that first impression is so key, and that's why we always go on about reception as well. So it's that first impression that leaves for me, that leaves a lasting feeling for the client.
But I was reading somewhere there's I don't know if it's a quote, but they were saying that you can forgive the first impression if the rest of that customer journey is actually spot on.
Yeah.
And you can forgive, or you can see the reception's busy, or there's too many people, not very comfortable. But if after that the customer journey is really good, then you could forgive. Yeah. But if across the journey you actually encounter loads of little nibbly things that not necessarily conscious of it. Sometimes you're not really conscious of it, but you kind of not feeling amazing.
Yeah, and again, along the journey, untidiness, cleanliness, if that isn't there, you know, I've walked into places before where the pedicure area, you can see sort of toenail clippings still there from the last person, or the wax pot is dirty, there's drips down it. I was
wax spot
is
one of those,
about
for sure.
things like that, the cleanliness, the hygiene, the dust on the skirting boards, when they lie down, if they're looking up, cobwebs. There's all those tiny that seem not so much, but actually they really do put a client off, because you want to go somewhere which is friendly, warm. Also, that's another thing. If it's too cold, I think is
that has,
you know, and no one checking if it's too cold. But you know, the warmth, the friendliness, the people, the professionalism, the cleanliness, the hygiene.
But I've worked in places where, you know, there was no investment to be done, because we were, you know, it was places that were really going down in terms. So the whole point was, I don't know, I was always a troubleshooter, you know, let's go in and try and bring it back up to life as such. And, you know, for me, before the aesthetic of the place, let's work on the team, let's work on how you function, because if the team gets it right, the customer won't necessarily notice all these little things as much, because they feel really welcome. So that's the only way I kind of could focus on, because I had no budget to invest in the new this and new that and paint or whatever. And then as it grew with the team perspective, then you can start investing, because you're making more budget. So to me, the customer journey has got to be right. How you welcome the people, how you you know, the little details of, if I'm doing my nails, you're offering me a coffee and I'm full of foil and I'm seeing my coffee getting it cold because it's the tiniest little handle, I can't even drink it. Things like that is simple, but actually still very annoying.
And you're right. I think if you could go to the most amazing, gorgeous, high-end place and it be spot on, and if the staff aren't,
you're just going to feel the coldness of everything.
If it's cold and it's so apparent as a client, it's so, or they don't want to be there or whatever it may be, you just get that feeling. And something I was always so proud of within my clinic was that you'd ask, or someone would leave a review. It sounds ridiculous, but most of the reviews would be about how warm it was, in terms of how they felt it was their one place to come and relax and get that 5 minutes to themselves before they went into their treatment. And they might be having something like waxing, which, let's face it, isn't the most relaxing treatment. But it was their time to themselves. The coffee was amazing. It had a biscuit on the side. You know, it was that they commented on.
Yes.
And so, you know, that just goes to show that it's that immediate feeling that they get, and that's what you want, and consistently.
I think that's the key, though, isn't it? It's that consistency. I went to another place not long ago where the therapist was basically, putting the mask on, and then she said, whilst I had the mask, I'm just going to go to the toilet. She was talking about her boyfriend a lot. Oh, no. And then I was like, okay, fine. And then she said, I'm just going to go to the toilet while the mask is on. It's like, no,
I don't need to know.
I don't want to know. Are you going to wash your hands? Are you not going to wash your hands? What do I need to do? You know, it's just oversharing, because I was a bit friendly and blah, blah, blah. So it's just, obviously for her, maybe it's a long day, so they want to, but that was just not necessary. But it's so different from beauty to hair as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like hair, you have to have
such
a different...
It's a different environment, different chat, different conversation. And I think actually, you know, the right hair salon you can take that, and actually you expect that different environment, that more vibey kind of, you know, upbeat, maybe chatting about things that you wouldn't necessarily chat about within a skin clinic setting. So you have to go with the premises that you're in as such.
But also listening to the client in some ways, to what it is that they want. Sometimes I'm so busy and it's not a mystery shop. I just want to have my nails done.
Yeah.
I'm the worst one with my headphones on. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
It's just so bad. But you see the vibe, isn't it?
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us. We really enjoy sharing our thoughts on various topics. If you have a burning question, simply comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button to keep up to date with each new episode.